was a little taken aback by the Deshaun Watson hate. And I threw this out on Twitter. Let me pull it up. And I was just asking people, right? I go, this is after the game, right? Browns won at 27-0. And we had trolls disguised as Browns fans still trying to push this Watson sexual predator trope. Reality is that no matter how much you dislike him, his family is set for life and will be the Browns quarterback for the foreseeable future. So you simply have to move on. Now, for me, when I come at it from this standpoint, the most alarming thing about this is the alarming thing about the whole this tweet and things like that is that people coming still dropping the sexual predator line, still dropping those lines in here. And for me, it's corny. For me, I've been looking at this situation and I'm like, I wonder if these people keep the same exact energy, because I know they don't, because I got the receipts to prove you don't keep the same exact energy. See, what tells me is there's a lot of people that either never really wanted to get Deshaun Watson because they like Baker Mayfield, or they never really wanted to make a move or give up any draft picks. So now they look for anything to justify and validate the way that they think. For me, I've been here Browns fan my whole career. When they drafted Baker Mayfield, I supported Baker Mayfield. When Baker Mayfield through his ups, his downs, his sideways moves, at the end of the day, I didn't root for Baker Mayfield to play horribly because Baker Mayfield was on my team. I don't root against my team just to prove a point. My question to people is, it's either the predator language or it's the $250 million. And something tells me the $250 million isn't a thing either. Because there's been quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, there's been quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, there's been quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts who've come over and got more money than he did. But it's the guarantee, G. Bush. Okay, so when you get past that, when you get past the guarantees and all that good stuff, we come back to the sexual predator trope. And by the way, it's not just from regular people. It's from people who got a mic in their hands. The last time I checked in the United States, when you go to court, they either tell you if you're guilty or you're not. Right? I could have swore 2 grand juries said he wasn't. But we still got people that want to throw the predator trope out here. So you know what? I'm kind of tired of it. So here, I'm going to give you ammunition that when people hit you with these talking points and don't want to watch the Browns, don't want to watch the games, they just want to see the whole thing burn down. Here's your ammunition. So I threw this out on Twitter. And just to show you, I put a couple other tweets up here just so you guys can understand these are the replies I got. So we'll throw these in here. And I appreciate anybody who did send that because your replies count. Mr. Ferguson says, no, you could be a Browns fan and not a Watson fan. Doesn't mean I'm hoping he fails, but it doesn't mean I'll ever think he's a good dude either. He does, however, need to play like he's worth the picks and the cash. Otherwise, the team is screwed. I hear that all the time. I really do. Do you hear the situation where the team is screwed? I mean, are they? Who'd you draft? We didn't hear that. When you miss on any quarterback and the quarterback ain't the guy, guess what? You take a step back. We've done that for 40 years. Why is he acting like the team ain't screwed now? If the team wasn't screwed, if the team's screwed, if he don't work out, it was the same thing for Johnny Manziel. It was the same thing for Brandon Weeden. It was the same thing for Baker Mayfield. If you miss on the first round quarterback, you are screwed. My problem is you could be a Browns fan and not a Watson fan. I don't see how that happens. You can say I don't personally like him. I don't like the things he's accused of. But listen, let me ask you a question. There's a lot of people that are accused of a lot of things in this world, and we don't take a stance based on accusations. We do it a lot. We actually remember the Indians pitcher Bauer? He just came out and said, look, hey, this is what's happening. He was raked over the coals. He was called every bad thing in the world. Now, I think the respectable thing would be that if you said something on Bauer's name, Trevor Bauer's name, you should issue an apology on air. But we won't get it. Same thing about, what is it, the punt guy? The guy from Arizona State? Turns out the Arizona State kid wasn't even in the vicinity. but he got screwed too because somebody had allegations. And here's the thing. It's not just athletes. It's all across the board. Like, we'll continue on. Honestly, I think it's pretty contradicting that when he has had multiple bad games in a row, Browns fans scream that the sample size isn't big enough. Then when he has one good game against a terrible opponent, sample size doesn't matter. Browns fans yell he's him and and say he's so great. Let me get this. Let me see. Let me see this. So let me I think Deshaun Watson done played I think Deshaun Watson done played 11 games or something with the Browns. I believe, let me get this correct. I believe Baker Mayfield has played over 50 games. I think it's funny that people still put the cape on and talk about Baker Mayfield all the time. And he has played 50 games for the Cleveland Browns. So when we talk about sample size, do you know Deshaun Watson hasn't even played more games than Brandon Wheat? So when you talk about he's played multiple bad games, I mean, Brian Hoyer had more games. These are the guys who have more games than Deshaun Watson. I'm trying to figure it out here. All right, so he has 11. We'll continue on. Make a difference. Here you go, my sir. I have to, LOL. I have to accept him in all his glory as a sexual predator. I won't move on, G. Bush. I don't think you want to come across like this. I'll cheer for my team. I'll play my damn money for each week. I hope him and his family are okay, and he is not a predator. I didn't show you the rest of that. But here's what we want to get to: make a difference. And this really brings me. What do you mean I don't want to come across like this? Keep that in mind as we continue to move forward. Okay, keep that move. Cleveland against, even if you think the majority of claims were just clout chasing or money chasing, the fact that he interacted with so many massage therapists over the amount of time tells us that he wasn't just doing it purely for health reasons. As you can see, you get a sample size. And I mean, this tweet got how many views? Let's take a look at it. Tweet got 36,000 people saw it, right? This is the majority of what I see underneath from Browns fans. This is what they bring up. But B-Town says something very good. I like this. Folks say, I can't root for a sexual predator on a football team, yet you've voted for one in the highest office in the land. And this is where they tell you, G. Bush, just keep it to football. Just keep it to sports. Don't bring any other thing in, because here's the thing. They'll rake you over the coals when it comes to sports. They can comment on everything and they want to when it comes to sports, but don't you dare get into any other places. You stay in your place. You better not say nothing. This is why, you're treading in. I got the receipts. I'm sorry. I told you I had to tell the truth because there's a lot of B-Town. I see that. I see that you can run for the highest office in the entire world. But they ain't got that same energy until it comes to somebody making. I'm sorry. There's a lot of parallels. Well, let me show you how many people believe in that. You can't vote. You can't root for a sexual predator. You better not do it. I'm sorry. 74 million people did, according to CNN. This right here is Ohio. Right here. Right here. I think this is Ohio. Right here. 5.8 million people in Ohio did the same thing. I'm wondering if some of those individuals do not like Deshaun Watson, but were okay voting. Sorry. This is why you don't get primetime opportunity, G. Bush. You tell the truth too much. Don't you leave that up there too long. It's going to burn people. And unlike Deshaun Watson was never convicted of anything. 2 grand juries. I got to keep saying, and this is a reason that you got to be pinpoint accurate when you come at people, because you're going to have to just say you don't like somebody. Don't give me all this virtue signaling. Don't you stand on no soapbox. I might get 16 views on this. I don't care. Truth is truth. At the end of the day, let's talk about what it looks like when you are convicted of something. I'm just saying, maybe you don't look at the New York Times. I'm just, A Manhattan jury on Tuesday found, you know who, liable of sexually abusing and defaming E. Jean Carroll and awarded her $5 million in damages. More than a dozen women have accused Mr. Trump of sexual misconduct over the years, but this is the only allegation to be affirmed by a jury. I'm waiting for the numbers to go down. You see, sometimes you have to do this because people will tell you you can't talk about certain things like that because you need to stay in your place. It ain't like it's inflammatory. The only reason politics are inflammatory to people is because you have to stand and affirm what you believe in and what you don't. And what I find is there's a lot of people, 74 million, some of them probably talking about Deshaun Watson, who have no problem supporting politicians, clergy, officers, anybody when it comes to whether or not they can identify with them. At the end of the day, if you want to get on the soapbox, if you want to get on that and you want to move that way, maybe you might want to go talk to some of your buddies. I don't know if you voted for it. That's your prerogative. Do what you want. But as I digress, and as I get to it, the goalpost is moving on a lot of people. And you may not like what I say, but I challenge you to give me something that I was incorrect about. When it comes to Deshaun Watson's play on the field, I'm just as critical of him as anybody else that played. Because at the end of the day, that's what I care about. What did you do on that field? At the end of the day, I'm forced to trust what the judicial system says. And what did they say? But that don't matter to some people. It just matters that you were accused of it and you can keep saying it forever. Well, here's what I can say. Deshaun Watson, whether you like it or not, people, he's going to be your quarterback because you can't get rid of him. Like it or not, people, you may not think he's worth $230 million, but in business, you are worth what they paid you for. There's all kind of people that are in my industry today that I don't think should have got no money, no opportunities. I think there's some people in my industry that are hacks, that lie, that make up stories, that have no integrity, that have no journalistic principles, and they make millions every single day. But do I stand up here and get on the pulpit and talk about what they're making? Do I stand up here and say, this person makes $5 million? How come he got? No, I don't. You know what I do? I handle what I can handle. I do the stories I need to do, and I print them and I talk about them. And y'all can like it or not, but at the end of the day, 3 years ago, before I started doing this, I was the first person talking about that type of stuff. They used to tell us to shut up and dribble, and that was acceptable 4 years ago. Stay in your place. Talk about what you know. How you gonna say talk about what I know? How many degrees I got? I follow this religiously. I'm being informed about what's going on in my country. What you talking about? Shut up and dribble. But they used to let people get away with that. Not so much now. So my thought process is this. I encourage people out there. I encourage each and every person out there that when people come to you with that nonsense, it ain't your job to shut up and just play coy. How about you rebuttal with some information? I thought that was funny because it's a line of athletes that have been accused for crazy stuff. Duke lacrosse. Duke lacrosse. Some people got screwed forever for false allegations. And the bad part about this, as we get to our next subject, is the bad part about it is the people that's up here making these tweets, they don't care nothing about no assault. They use these different little talking points to make themselves feel better and to make them feel like, okay, well, at least I could justify not liking them by saying this. And that goes for everybody else. If Brady Quinn want to keep getting on air talking about it, why you think I'm not going to talk about it? I already told y'all, I'm not trying to go to nobody's, no. I'm not trying to get hired. I'm not trying to be around here messing around, going to cookouts. I'm not trying to be a director of operations. I'm not trying to be none of that. So when I come on here, I talk about things that I've studied, things that I'm interested, things that I'm passionate about, and I do not like BS. And the fact that people like 19 Action News is sitting up here and they got a press conference and you got troll comments just scrolling at the bottom, troll after troll after troll. Come on, you're out of pocket. These guys be out of pocket and your talking points are lame. If you thought that, hey, by the way, if character counted like that, like y'all been saying it did, you gonna try to tell me that character is the reason? The character? Really? After we've seen the nasty messiness from coach after coach after coach who still get jobs after they do nasty, crazy, unethical stuff. Tell me about no integrity. Integrity only counts when you're talking about somebody that you don't identify with. It's a problem with y'all. I digress.